You're live.
Good evening and welcome to the Clark Township Public Council meeting. It is Monday, April 17th at 7:30 p.m. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Albanese.
Here.
Councilman Hund.
Here.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Here.
Councilman Minetti.
Here.
Councilman O'Connor is absent. Councilman Toll.
Here.
Council President Smith.
Here. Can we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence?
United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This meeting is in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, as adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by mailing the annual schedule of meetings to the Star-Ledger, Union County Hawk, Union County Local Source, and Tappan to Clark, by posting such annual meeting schedule on the bulletin board in Town Hall reserved for such announcements, the official website of the Township, and the proper filing of said notice. Formal action may be taken at this meeting.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Can I get a motion to suspend the regular order of business?
Moved. Second.
Thank you, Councilman Mazzarella and Councilman Albany, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, regular order of business is suspended. We're going to ask the ladies from the Clark American Legion Auxiliary to come on up. I have some names here. So we have Karen Fink, First Vice President, Kathleen Switek, Treasurer, Margaret Alago, Secretary, Jody Burns, Chaplain, Maureen Riley, Sergeant at Arms, Judy Doran, and Jerry Fellerman. And if there's anyone else that's part of the auxiliary, please come on up as well.
Would anybody like to speak? No? Would you? Okay. Madam Clerk, will you please read the proclamation?
Yes, this is a mayoral proclamation. Whereas answering to the call, Service Not Self, the American Legion Auxiliary supports the initiative and programs, of the American Legion. Why is that not, it's not working. Sorry. It went out. Thank you.
Testing?
Is that it? That's all it's going to go.
No,
They're all out.
The light goes on, but it doesn't work.
Go ahead. Testing?
Nope.
Nope.
Test.
All right, kids. 1, 2, 3.
Back up.
Testing.
Back up.
You try to call him? Don?
That's good. Usually they say they can't hear us at home, but now they can. Are you good? Yeah, we're good.
Okay, now we're on. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, let's start over. Whereas answering to the call, Service Not Self, the American Legion Auxiliary supports the initiative and programs of the American Legion, honoring the sacrifice of those who serve, while enhancing the lives of our veterans, military, and their families, both at home and abroad. And whereas in 1948, a few years after the end of World War II, 14 women came together in the Township of Clark to establish the American Legion Auxiliary Unit 328. And whereas 2023 marks the service organization's 75th anniversary, and whereas the Clark American Legion Auxiliary members are continually at work within our community by advocating for veterans and active military, mentoring our youth, promoting patriotism, encouraging good citizenship, peace, and security. And whereas the Clark American Legion Auxiliary Unit 328 is made up of devoted volunteers that demonstrate compassion and heart, they are committed to the 4 founding principles: justice, freedom, democracy, and loyalty, with each member of the group vowing to continue to work as long as our servicemen and women are deployed around the world. Now, therefore, I, Sal Bonacorso, Mayor of Clark Township, do hereby proclaim our congratulations and best wishes on your 75th anniversary.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Congratulations, ladies, on your 75th anniversary here in town, to the American Legion. I think this goes without saying, the way this community, this mayor, this council, Councilman Hunt brought this forward for us, supports our military, our veterans, our veteran groups, knowing throughout my whole life here in town what our veterans organizations, namely tonight we're talking about the American Legion, has done for everyone in this community, that you make us a proud military patriotic community. We stand totally behind you and for all your efforts, and of course, if there's anything we can do as a mayor and council, we're only too glad to do that. And I want to congratulate you on your 75th, and I'll meet you back here in 75 more. Can we sign a paper for that? Okay, all righty. Thank you very much. Can you come on in, ladies, come on in closer. No stepping on toes.
Thank you. 70 years.
What's that?
I've been a member for 70 years.
And here's a young lady that's been for 70 years. That's great, terrific.
She has been.
Wow, congratulations. And thank you for all you do for the community and all the veterans. Everyone appreciates it. Thank you so much.
Thank you very
God
much.
bless you all. Thank you. Is anybody here from the other group? Good. One more proclamation.
Are you ready? Ready? Yep. Okay. Our second proclamation is for CASA of Union County. Whereas Clark Township in the state of New Jersey recognizes the problem of child abuse and neglect and is committed to helping its victims, and whereas court-appointed special advocates, CASA, of Union County recruits, trains, supports, and supervises community volunteers as advocates for children who have been removed from their home due to neglect or abuse, and whereas CASA has a record of public service protecting the safety and well-being of Union County's foster children, defending them from harm, and ensuring they are provided with the court-ordered services they need. And whereas CASA establishes and maintains effective relationships with the Family Court, the Division of Child Protection and Permanency, Child Placement Review Board, Office of the Public Defender, Legal Aid, and other child-serving agencies and institutions in order to create a cooperative environment in which to best meet the needs of children. Whereas the Township of Clark urges all residents to become aware of the work and mission of CASA of Union County, let it be known that we support the education efforts to raise awareness of the CASA program at the local level and need for community members to provide a voice for the children in foster care. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Sal Bonacorso, recognize April as Court-Appointed Special Advocate of Union County Month. And it's signed by the mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I'd like to welcome ladies here tonight, and CASA obviously is a group that, you know, there's, I guess, probably nothing worse in this world than seeing an abused child, and thank God for angels of mercy like yourselves and your group that you're there to help that and support that and try to, of course, do away with that. It's a very sad time, and we thank you for your efforts and wanted to recognize you here tonight in front of our community, and we appreciate all you do. I'm going to have this young lady speak in a second, and I'm just going to hand you all the, come on over to the proclamation. You know what, let's get out from under here so it's only three of us. Right. Just over here, Donna. Right over here. Yeah, we're a small group, we can do this easier, okay? Come on in. Right there.
Oh, okay. All right. The CASA of Union County, which is court-appointed special advocates for foster children in care. We are all volunteers and have been active in Union County for about 15 years. We'd like to extend our sincere gratitude to Mayor Bonaccorso, council members, and Clark Township for the proclamation to bring attention to CASA of Union County's work to protect the best interest of local youth victims in the child welfare system. There are several excuse me, Clark residents who tirelessly volunteer their time and energy in the advocacy trenches serving these children. Last year, more than 6,000 hours were donated by CASA volunteers, and 238 youth were served. Together, we can let local foster children know we see them, we hear them, and we support them during a time in life that should be carefree, not full of trauma, loss, and a future of unknowns. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Ladies, thank you again, and thank you to your organization. May Godspeed and continue to help in those young children of our county and, of course, our state. Thank you very much.
Before we resume the meeting, if anybody would like to leave, you're more than welcome, and we'll start in about a minute. Can I get a motion to resume the regular order of business?
Second.
Second?
Thank you, Councilman Toll. Second, Councilman Albanese. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We're going to move to communications from the mayor and reports of the township officers. Mayor Bonaccorso.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. My monthly report is as follows. I'd like to congratulate Ralph Bernardo and his staff on our Easter egg hunt, which happened right 2 weeks before Easter. It was very well attended. It was very nice, and I'm glad the youth of Clark enjoyed it. It's something that, again, is a tradition at that time of year. On Sunday, April 30th, the Chamber of Commerce will be throwing their first annual street fair here in Clark. It'll be right up here on Westfield Avenue, in front of the high school, the Brewer Municipal Building, and that way. And eventually, when things are built on Westfield Avenue, we'll be moving it down to the business side. I don't think anybody wants to look at the old A&P at this point. But that'll be happening on April 30th. There's vendors, food, car show, band, a lot of things. Come on out and support it and meet our businesses and professionals in our community. The Chamber is really doing some great work here in town, supporting our professionals and our businesses. This Saturday, the girls softball and Clark Little League Parade will happen, usually around 9 o'clock right up here on Westfield Avenue. Keep that in mind for any travelers coming this way. The road will be closed off for about an hour or so, hour and a half or so. And we'll have a celebration of the girls softball and Clark Little League, another long, long tradition in our great community. Branch cleanup is continuing. We will continue picking up your spring cleanup, branches, debris, right through the last week of April. Then we will go on to our branch schedule that no one seems to listen about, but we'll try again this year, that please put your branches in the street on the third week. We will be by to pick them up on the fourth week. In May, we'll also start our grass pick as it is, and it's a service that's well regarded here in town. Clark Police reports this month there were 68 radar details in our community, 28 traffic enforcements, and I thank the PD for doing a great job on that. Last Friday, I had the honor and pleasure, and I'll take a page out of Councilman Toll's book now, saying history was made in Clark when the A.L. Johnson, for the first time ever, has a Clark girls lacrosse team. And I went to the ladies lacrosse. I went to the game. It was fun. The young ladies were enthusiastic, excited. There was a pretty nice crowd there, and they won their first game ever pretty overwhelmingly. So I congratulate the coaches, the ladies on the team, Mr. Kalikas, the AD, the principal, vice principal, superintendent, and the Board of Education for making this possible. I'd also like to take 1 minute to congratulate someone who's joined 2 other individuals in this town, myself being one of them. Councilman Al Barr has been inducted and honored into the New Jersey League of Municipalities Elected Officials Hall of Fame. He joins myself and former mayor, late Mayor Bernard Savage. So Councilman Barr, you've been here since you retired. Your interest and love for the community has never waned, and I can tell you it was a great day for all of us to hear that you've achieved this. So congratulations, and that concludes my report for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Bonacorso. Councilwoman Albanese.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to give a report from our Library Director, Megan Kolechik. And first, I just want to mention that the Friends of the Library will have a fundraiser on Saturday, May 13th. They'll be selling flowers, trays of flowers, hanging baskets, etc., over at the library from 10 to 3. They'll also have inside the library a vendor who will be buying precious gems and metals if you have odd pieces of gold or what have you that you want to sell. This is, again, a fundraiser to support the Friends of the Library, who've been very helpful in supporting programs at the library and meeting all the needs, really, of some of the librarians and some of their youth programs. As far as programs that are coming up in May, we have Boogie Woogie Babies on Tuesday, May 2nd at 10 a.m. This is a 45-minute program where the babies 6 months to 2 years old have an opportunity to dance, sing, and listen to the music and use their fine motor skills, and everyone gets to socialize with one another. On May 4th, from 6 to 8, they're going to have a Paddington film screening, the Coronation Celebration. And they'll also be having a British tea, high noon tea of scones and Paddington's favorite orange marmalade. That's on May 4th from 6 to 8 p.m. Union County will be at the library on Monday, May 8th from 10 to noon with their aging services kiosk, and a representative will be there to answer any questions you might have about caregivers, help from the county, what services are available. So if you want to stop by and ask questions, please do that on May 8th from 10 to 12. That's on a Monday. Also on Monday, Teen Gaming Club will meet from 3 to 4:30. This is for grades 6 through 12. They'll be working, playing with the Nintendo Switch games on the big screen, and snacks will be served. There's also in the evening that day, on Monday, May 8th, an adult and teen craft where they'll be painting, using acrylic paints to paint lavender flowers. So if you are interested in that, you should sign up for that program. On the first and third Thursdays of every month, we have librarian by appointment. You can meet with the librarian to go into whatever help you need, whether it's research, technology, any questions about the library, you can get one-on-one help with that. On Monday, May 15th, there'll be a brown bag lunch packing event. So it's an opportunity to give back to the community. They'll be making sandwiches and decorating the brown bags with inspirational words for providing meals for homeless people. So that is on May 15th from 3 to 4:45. All ages are invited to participate in that program of giving. There'll be an infant CPR class for parents and anyone that's involved or works with infants up to 12 months of age. So they'll be using, covering choking, cardiac arrest, and AED use. And that's on Monday, May 22nd at 11 a.m. And on May 25th, we have on Thursday at 3:30 p.m. Little Scientists. They'll be doing science experiments, and that's for grades K through 5. And last but not least, another program for K through 5 On Friday, May 26th at 3:15 p.m. will be the Lego Club. And if you haven't seen them, all the works that the children put together are on display at the library, and they are quite impressive. So, thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Councilwoman Albanese. Councilman Hund?
Thank you, Council President. I have the monthly report for Clark Police Department for March 2023, where we saw a total of 2,818 calls for services, of which 106 were ambulance requests, 4 were fire department requests, 10 were motor vehicle, residential lockouts, 75 were alarm calls, 64 were motor vehicle accidents, and 2 were miscellaneous calls. There was a total of 16 adult arrests, including but not limited to 1 weapons charge, 3 for DUI, 5 for theft, and 7 warrants. There were a total of 18 juvenile arrests, including but not limited to 1 for aggravated assault, 1 for theft, 2 for harassment, 1 possession of CDS, 1 for underage alcohol consumption, 3 offenses against the family. Of these, 2 were formally charged and 16 were in-house dispositions. That concludes the report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Hund. Councilman Mazzarella?
Yes, thank you, Council President. This is my DPW report for this month. As the mayor mentioned, spring cleanup ends April 25th. Please have all the debris out by April 23rd. Electronic drop-off is April 29th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. in the DPW yard behind this building. ID is required. We have free bare root tree samplings available at the DPW yard on April 29th from 9 a.m. to 12 noon. Please park outside of the yard in the lot. And they do not know what species they have, but they'll have them available on the 29th. Grass pickup begins on May 2nd, and grass only, please, in biodegradable bags. And if there are any loose piles of grass out, DPW will not pick them up, so make a note of that. They have to be in the biodegradable bags. May starts branch pickup. Please, branches out on the 3rd week for DPW to pick up the branches on the 4th week. Bulky pickup appointment is required, and by 3 p.m. the week prior to your scheduled pickup. And as I have said in the past, they do not accept concrete mattresses, box springs, or car parts. Just to name a few items, and no metal, please. Appliance and metal pickup is by appointment, and DPW will pick up that every Monday. To make an appointment for mulch delivery, please email dpw@ourclark.com to schedule a delivery or call 732-428-8402. And recycling should be put curbside Tuesday night, because they'll start picking up the recycling at 5:30 a.m. on Wednesdays. No plastic bags or pizza boxes. And all that I have mentioned is within the residence guide. If you care to look at it, that's dpw@r.com. Thank you. That's the extent of my report.
Thank you. Councilman Minetti?
Thank you, Council President. I have 2 reports tonight, the Fire Department, and I'm going to do the Clark Volunteer Emergency Squad. For the Fire Department, in the month of March, the Clark Fire Department responded to 38 calls, which is 110 calls year-to-date. The calls included, but are not limited to, numerous odors and alarm calls, 3 calls related to motor vehicles, and 1 for mutual aid from a surrounding town. As always, I would like to thank members of the Clark Fire Department for their hard work and dedication in keeping our town safe. For the Clark Volunteer Emergency Squad, the report for April 2023, the squad has recruited 1 new adult member and 1 new cadet. They currently have been trained in CPR and first aid. We look forward to getting them trained as EMTs. Our monthly blood drive continues to be a great support to the community. Please consider stopping in and donate. Each pint of blood can save 3 lives. Our call volume is as follows. There were 90 calls in the month of March, with 5 mutual aid calls into surrounding towns, and does not include any calls which were dispatched to or canceled on. Total hours responding to calls is approximately 675 man-hours. This does not include any hours that members are on duty when not on calls. For membership, we are continuing to interview for daytime EMT positions. Have hired 1 new member, but unfortunately lost a member due to scheduling conflicts. We continue to look for new members to join. Anyone interested can email membership@clarkems.org. The squad continues to seek people who can support the squad with their talents. It could be fundraising, social media, to help create member events. Current happenings. The squad is continuing to closely follow a bill currently being considered that would require all state EMTs to complete a criminal background report every 2 years. Our certifications are currently 3 years and must be done by the FBI or state contracted agencies. This is currently no updates on this bill, but we would ask support from the township to have background checks moved to 3 years and have them funded by the state. New Jersey State Department of Health, the OEMS, who is in charge of the oversight of EMS in New Jersey, has issued new protocols and are making multiple changes to their educational processes. The squad will continue to stay on top of these changes to ensure that all members are compliant with regulations. These regulations are currently going through the final stage and are expected to be released in June. We are preparing for activities for the township to participate in National EMS Week, which is May 21st through May 27th. We hope to have open houses and give free CPR lessons to our residents. This is from Lori Sheldon, the trustee of the Clark Volunteer Emergency Squad. That concludes my reports. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Toll.
Thank you, Mr. President. From the Clark Environmental Commission, this Saturday, April the 22nd, 2023, from 8:30 in the morning till 12 noon, the annual Rollway River cleanup shall be held. That is, Rollway River is the northern portion of the township, but the annual Rollway River cleanup watershed will be held, and that's going to be going from Winfield Park Dam, and they work their way down the Rollway River going east to the Jackson's Falls, or Jackson's Pond, which we used to call it, or along Valley Road. So you got a nice traverse of watershed, it's actually called. But that day, if you have some free time or can allocate some free time, Mother Nature needs your help. We need to have participants come out and pick up this kind of stuff, plastic bottles that get washed out through the sewers and end up in our waterways. And we need to help Mother Nature. You can't do it on its own unless it's a windy day, sort of. But what we need is your help. If you can come out, meet us at 8:30 at the Winfield Park Dam. You go into from Winfield's like a horseshoe. You go in the right side, and it takes you right down to the dam. You go all the way through, you'll end up back into the Stiles Street area. So what we're asking for, if you can come out and help us, we greatly appreciate it. The watershed and the cleanup is under the supervision of Joe Zebo, a longtime resident of Clark, and this is his baby, and he gives instructions of how to basically clean up debris and stuff, and making our waterways clean, safe for Mother Nature. And we ask you to join us this Saturday, April the 22nd, 2023, at 8:30 at the Winfield Park Dam. That's all I've got, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Toll. From our Recreation Director, Ralph Bernardo, just wants me to remind all the residents, if you're interested in a pool membership or registering for the summer rec camp or spring rec programs, to please do so as soon as possible. All information is available on the Clark website at ourclark.com under either the swim, pool utility, or recreation tab. And as always, if you have any questions, you can call Ralph directly at 732-428-8400. And all reports given this evening are in the clerk's office or on the township website. So at this time, we'll move to ordinances, appropriations, and claims.
Thank you. We have one ordinance for public hearing, ordinance 23-15, an ordinance to amend and supplement various sections of Chapter 347 entitled Vehicles and Traffic of the Code of the Township of Clark.
At this time, I'd like to open up this ordinance, the public hearing on this ordinance. If anyone would like to come forward, please do so. State your name and address to the clerk, and you'll have 5 minutes. Seeing no one at this time, I'd like a motion. Thank you. Councilman Toll. And I get a second, please?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councilman Manetti. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? This time, I need a motion to adopt the ordinance.
I'll move that, Mr. President.
Thank you, Councilman Toll, and I will second that. Any discussion?
I will just, for the public record, this is the issue of parking permits on Bartel Park. It's a part of a couple other issues. But what basically this is residents came to me, said they had a problem. My job is very simple. I get an issue, I have it go to the professionals, the mayor's office, then it goes to the police, and then the police traffic division looks at it and says, what can we do to help these people? What can we do to help the people? That's what the question is. When the residents have a problem, that's why we're up here, to make their problem resolved. And that's what we've done. We created an ordinance to additional parking, permit parking for residential to help home rule. That's all I got tonight, Mr. President, on this one. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Toll. Jim, you have anything to add?
Yeah, the only thing I want to add to that, it's not just the parking on Richard Street, it's also we're making some changes to stop signs and yield signs. The actual signs aren't changing. It's the ordinance. So we did a bit of a cleanup and just making some of those changes.
Thank you for the clarification. Can I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Manitti.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Ordinance adopted.
Now we can move to introduction of proposed ordinances.
Okay, the first ordinance for introduction is ordinance 23-16, an ordinance to amend and supplement Section 2 entitled Fees of Chapter 122 entitled Construction Codes Uniform of the Code of the Township of Clark.
You get a motion, please?
Yes, I'll move it.
Thank you, Councilman Mazzarella. Get a second.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councilman Manitti. Any discussion? Jim?
Yeah, so we're updating a lot of the construction fees. This is all part of the whole, updating 195, updating the construction fees. The construction fees haven't changed in the town since 2009. We're bringing them now in, to an amount that's consistent with the surrounding communities.
Thank you. Anyone else? Can I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Manitti.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
The public hearing on this ordinance will be May 15th. Next is ordinance 23-17, an ordinance to amend Article 9, Section 62 of Chapter 347 of the Code of the Township of Clark entitled Private Property Open to the Public.
Can I get a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Thank you, Councilman Manitti. Can I get a second?
Second?
Thank you, Councilman Albanese. Any discussion? Good.
Yeah, this is also part of the cleanup, just designating which properties are open to the public so we can enforce the laws on those properties.
Thank you. Anybody else? Can I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Manitti.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Public hearing on this ordinance will also be May 15th. Ordinance 23-18, an ordinance to amend Article 9, Section 63 of Chapter 347 of the Code of the Township of Clark entitled Fire Zones.
You get a motion?
I'll move it.
Thank you, Councilman Mazzarella. Get a second.
Second?
Thank you, Councilman Albanese. Any discussion? Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, this is the last of them that we would, like I said, we were doing a lot of cleanup. This is identifying the fire zones so we can, again, enforce the township ordinances as it relates to fire zones.
And most of these fire zones are at some of the businesses, like Whole Foods, I believe, was one of them,
They're all at businesses.
and Acme, and, okay.
Clark Commons, Manny's, Clark Pool, 301 Central Avenue, CVS. And then we just changed some of the names, like it used to be A&P on Raritan Road, it's amended to say Acme. Bally's on Raritan Road is now Atlantic Urgent Care. Former Crown Plaza is now Holiday Inn. Molly McGuire's is now Central Kitchen, which will probably be changing soon again. And Rite Aid on Central shall be amended to Walgreens. So it's, cleaning up some things that we needed to.
Thank you for the clarification. Anybody else? Get a roll call, please.
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Manitti.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
On this order, 15th.
Now we'll move to payment of claims.
I have read the bills for the month of, April, totaling $272,937.38.
Thank you. Okay, at this time, we're going to move to the citizens' hearing on the agenda. If anyone would like to come up and speak about any of the items on the agenda, please come up, give your name and address to the clerk. All remarks should be addressed to the council as a body and shall not exceed 5 minutes in duration.
Separate.
Separate. You can do it then, yep. Anything on the agenda, there'll be a time at the end to speak about anything. Okay, it looks like no one wants to come forward, so at this time, a motion to close this portion. Thank you, Councilman Hund. Can I get a second?
Second.
Councilman Albanese, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, move over to resolutions.
First resolution is budget compliant. I'm sorry.
Hold on, Madam Clerk.
I would have a motion presented to remove that item from the agenda now and vote on it.
Okay. Council
Okay.
President, do you want to?
Item number 18, resolution number 18, we are going to remove from today's agenda.
I'll make a motion.
Thank you, Councilwoman Albanese. Can I get a second? Thank you, Councilman Hund.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Now we can move to the list of resolutions.
Okay. The first resolution is budget compliance resolution, allowing the budget to be read by title.
Can I get a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Thank you, Councilman Eddy. Can I get a second? Thank you, Councilman Albanese. Any discussion? I think it's self-explanatory. Roll call.
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Nitti.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Next is the public hearing on the municipal budget for calendar year 2023.
At this time, I'll open to the public hearing on the budget. If anyone would like to come forward, please give their name and number. Name and address. And you'll have 5 minutes in duration.
Evening, everybody. Michael Schulman, 382 Carolina Street. I want to thank the business administrator who, with one good arm, got back to me with a number of questions I had in sort of explaining and understanding what is a fairly complex document, which is the 2023 budget. And in essence, I just wanted to highlight, I think, some of the things that were concerning or alarming on my end, because I don't know if everyone, yeah. Oh.
Oh.
I don't think I'm going to use it, but
Not working?
Just, okay.
That one worked.
fantastic.
I'm sorry to do this, but for right now, so we figure that one out.
It's not a problem. I can stand here. I can.
It wouldn't go on. Yeah, try. It wouldn't go on.
It's the most commotion I've caused here in a while.
He gets it.
Fantastic.
You want to do a duel?
One microphone
Sorry
is
about
plenty for me. So as I was saying, I think many people don't know the document's necessarily public or know how to read it, but I think it's important that the folks who do see these videos, either online or on the TV, understand what is in our budget. And the mayor hit it on the head at his address at the beginning of the year. We're going to have to increase taxes. I know the newest version of the budget, it's lower than it was, but we still have an increase of almost 10%, 9.7% or so an increase in taxes. And the folks here in town are going to feel that similarly at the county level and in a number of other places. And that's an increase that's occurring on top of the fact that the town is dipping into our surplus by $500,000. So the town's surplus is offsetting what probably would have been an even larger tax increase for the residents here. And in highlighting some of the things that are going up in cost, we can't do anything about the health insurance, and I get that. I know that's going to be the response probably to most of my commentary, but money went also to pay for the reassessments that we had to have done, but based on that reassessment, a lot of people also saw their property taxes increase. The information also from Mr. Ehrlich is that $85,000 went to pay for council fees for the numerous issues that the town has been continually dealing with. It's a significant amount of money. And every dollar counts. People here are feeling the pain of every other cost increase. So it's tough to see the budget increasing in terms of the taxes that we're going to be seeing, and equally some of the services not being there. We spoke last month, I believe, about some of the road paving that's not going to be taking place. So I just think it's important that moving forward, the town seriously address what we could have as a ballooning set of costs. Maybe look to other ways to reduce costs, reducing health insurance costs by having certain government officials come off of publicly funded health insurance. We have 4 members of, I think, our town council and executive branch who are on town-paid health insurance, and I think every dollar counts, and people know how expensive health insurance is. These are individuals that could potentially look elsewhere for it. So I appreciate the time. I told you I wasn't taking all 5 minutes. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. Schulman.
Daniel Fuchs, 333 Carolina Street. I guess my first question is, excuse my ignorance on this. The public discussion for the budget, is that just for us to ask questions, or do you actually discuss that in front of everybody and so we know what's in there?
Well, the budget is given to us, we all discuss it, and then we have the workshop meeting where we discuss it, and then at the public hearing, you come up and ask questions.
Okay, well, I was at the workshop meeting, wasn't much of a discussion, but I was actually just curious to know how it works. So, okay, so we have the opportunity to ask questions about it. So it is a 15% rate increase, is that correct?
50%?
15?
15?
Oh, it's not
Yeah, 9 and change.
Okay. All right, so I was just wondering, I mean, I guess the issue I kind of have is I go back to the October meeting, and we have a quote from the mayor referencing when the Democrats were running for re-election, 20-plus years ago, quote, "You had a very low or no tax increase in an election year and a double digit the following." And this is all after everyone ran on 3 years of no tax increases. Well, here we are, not in an election year, with a double digit increase. So I was definitely surprised to see when the budget came up to see that after running on no tax increases and then hearing that quote. And I got to assume as recent as October, you had to know we were going to have a budget increase. So to say that, I don't know if you were unsure that we were going to have a tax increase and we're, failed to forecast that, or you were just kind of being disingenuous and doing what you got to do to get people elected. I get that taxes got to go up. It's a little harder to swallow that in this town, given all the settlements, the legal fees, insurance premiums, the fact that we're still paying these suspended officers, all that stuff that occurred under this administration. So again, I was just a little surprised to see this large increase after everything you all ran on in the quote from the October meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no one else, I'd like a motion to close the public hearing.
Moved.
Thank you, Councilman Mazzarella. Councilman Toll, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion to adopt. Get a motion?
I'll move that.
Thank you, Councilman Maniti. May I get a second, please?
Yes, I'll second it.
Thank you, Councilman Mazzarella. Any discussion?
Mr. President?
Go ahead, Councilman Toll.
Thank you. Every time we do the budget, it is the most difficult thing to do when sitting up here. You go up to the doors of a resident during campaign season and say, hi, vote for me. What are you going to do for me? I'm going to try to keep this town clean, safe, and safe is the number one word. And safe costs a lot of money. But the point is, it's very difficult to come up here, and normally council members vote on buying a dump truck, fixing a road, trees have to be purchased, and supporting the youth leagues of the township, and we have the next generation. But the most difficult thing is spending $1. My friends know me as Mr. Cheap. I don't like spending money. I'm sorry, I don't. I drive a Chevy Equinox as a car. I don't have a lot of money, and I don't spend a lot of money. So when I'm making a decision on your money, it hurts, and I don't like doing it, and especially when there's an increase. But I know those two over there, the mayor and the BA, work their butts off to keep this at a normal, functional budget that works to take care of the township and take care of the needs of the township. And I still think they're trying to do that. Am I happy about a budget increase? Absolutely not. And I would vote no on that if it was something that was not justified. Do I want, and we're most, and I'm going to ask the BA to explain to the residents of this town why that's a 10% increase. Is it from pensions and benefits? Yes. That we don't really control. The state mandates all that. Is that true or not? So I just want to say this. I don't like saying yes to any increase on the residents' taxpayers' dollars. I don't like spending your money at all. But we have to have this town, practicality and reasoning is, we have to make the town function. It's 2023. It's not cheap out there, and you know that. The residents know that when you're at your house and what it costs to maintain a house. I was buying weed killer from Ace Hardware today. That stuff's gone up, and everything, interest has gone up, and it's being hurting the residents of Clark. So for me to sit here tonight and say, hey, yeah, I'm going to increase your taxes, I don't like it at all. But we need to have the town function so we get to the next step. That's all I have to say, Mr. President. Thank you. And I hope the BA does explain a little bit more about why we have these increases. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Toll. Anybody else? Go ahead, Jim.
Okay, so I'll answer Mr. Schulman's questions. Number one is, you're right, we did use $500,000 out of surplus. However, as I said in the email, we accrued that last year by cutting expenses because we knew this was going to be a bad year. So if you look at the budget document, our anticipated surplus versus our actual surplus was up $500,000 in 2022. So, there's one of the things for Mr. Fuchs that we did address. The other big thing is the health insurance, which we did not find out, and it's public record until October, that we were going to get hit with over a $500,000 increase. And when that did happen, what we did is we went to each one of the unions and had a discussion with them saying, if you move to a less expensive plan, we will share the savings with you, which ended up saving us not $1 million, but it saved us about $55,000 on top of that. The other things that we've done is, we're looking at high cost, the amount that it costs to pave roads, the amount that it costs to, do little things around the town like buy equipment. We're buying no vehicles this year. We're not paving anything other than the Department of Transportation grant road. This way, we don't have to spend that money. So we cut back. And then, back to Councilman Toll's comments, just high level, the health insurance was an increase of $563,000, rounded numbers. Interest is about $300,000. Recycling was $175,000. And again, we know what we had, last year on recycling. Pension cost, again, out of our control, $125,000. Insurance, yes, insurance is up. And insurance, but if anybody has tried to get their property and casualty insurance, it is up significantly. This year, last year was the worst since the 1980s. Just round numbers, liability insurance is up in excess of 25%. Liability claims are up. On top of everything, about 50% more liability claims are coming in, and the settlements are about $75,000, and they've been higher than they were 5 years ago. Cyber insurance, as everybody knows, and you just heard what happened at Camden, is up in excess of $130,000. To reduce that amount of money and the cost of cyber insurance, we just started the Cyber GIF. I'm actually a member of the Cyber GIF, so I'm a commissioner. And what we're doing is we are self-insuring ourselves and a bunch of other towns from cyber insurance. We brought in the Chernoff Group, and as part of bringing in the Chernoff Group, they are putting together our process, procedures to ensure that we have adequate controls. Again, is it going to save us millions of dollars? No. Is it going to save us $50,000? Absolutely. So we just joined the Cyber GIF. We started it, and I'm a commissioner to make sure that it is run properly. The other insurance, as was discussed by Councilman O'Connor, is the change in the state, and when people go out on permanent disability, it used to hit the pension first, workers' comp second. They changed that, and now it hits the workers' comp first, pension second. Increased cost by about 30% for all the insurance companies. There's a bunch of things there. Gasoline, so insurance is just not just, okay, let's just look at our liability insurance. Gasoline, $50,000. Fire department repairs, again, $25,000. Just maintaining the trucks has been significantly more expensive. Last year, we pushed off on some maintenance, and we have to do it this year. And it's not because we wanted to push it off. We couldn't get the parts and materials and even, some of the places to do it. Some of the additional costs, like you said, legal, $85,000. You're right, but that's to cover all of the changes to the OPR requirements. As you discussed, the Minata case, our township attorney cannot represent us because he's been named, and there was a major motor vehicle accident that a person passed away in one of our shopping plazas, and as part of that, they separated the police department, the township, the fire department, and the ambulance squad. So we just tripled the number of attorneys that we need, right? The ambulance squad's probably going to get out of it because they didn't show up and it was Rolway, very long story short, but we still have to defend that. And each one of those have to have their individual representatives. Don't hold me to this number, but right now we're looking at about 40 depositions for township employees, which could not be handled. So yes, you're right, expenses went up. Unfortunately, the vast majority of those expenses are not under our direct control from a day-to-day. The things that were under our direct control, and up to and including getting in front of this last year, we took advantage of that. And then I want to, bring some of the positive stuff to the town. We're trying to automate more and more of these processes. And, for the first time ever, you could do your dog and cat licenses online, your business registration online, landlord registrations online, lead paint requirements online. Again, all state laws that we would have to manage it manually, we're doing it online through GovPilot. You also have food licenses now online, don't have to come in or mail them. You could do restaurant inspections, report a concern online. It gets all logged. I have a desktop. Every morning I come in, I know how many things that DPW still hasn't worked on. I know how many licenses are in the queue. I know how many dog licenses are in the queue. Bulky pickup, you don't have to call in anymore. You could do it online. Garage sales, you could do it online. Construction permits and construction inspections will be coming. We're working on that. So you don't no longer have to call up. You can go online, see the availability, when it works for your schedule, plug in that time, and they work on that stuff. So there's been a lot, and just to take what Councilman O'Connor said at the last public meeting, what Councilman Toll said now, we did a lot of work on this, and we got it to the point that we think we're not hitting the township significantly from a service perspective. It's something that is due, it's required to to run the town efficiently, and we don't want to get too far behind the 8 ball on things in the future. So I hope that explains it, for the council and the public at large.
Thank you, Jim. Anybody else? Good,
I just
Councilwoman
wanna make-
Albanese.
I just want to make a comment to, first of all, thank Jim and the mayor for doing an excellent job on the budget and being a member of the Finance Committee, reviewing all the items that came up. And as, I think that was a great summation from our BA regarding the items that are very extraordinary. And as he mentioned, we didn't find out till October that the healthcare costs were increasing, and that's really a major part of it. But then you have to look at the economic issues. Interest rates that were running 1 or 2% went down to zero. They were almost negative during the pandemic. So for 2 years, you had zero interest. Right now, you're borrowing bonds at almost 5%. That makes a big difference in what's happening in terms of any financing that we have. The gas costs, and these are things that are hitting every town in New Jersey. The interest, the healthcare costs, the gas costs. Last year, in the middle of the year, couldn't even handle the budget. You had to do budget transfers just to make it through the year, to put gas in the trucks, et cetera, and the vehicles for the township. So again, thank you very much for a great job on the budget. It is difficult pill to swallow, but we do want to maintain, and I'm very pleased with the services that we're providing to the citizens of Clark. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman Albanese. Anybody else? Okay, could I get a roll call, Madam Clerk?
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Minetti.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Budget adopted. Number 7 is appointing David DeRosa as full-time health officer effective May 4th, 2023.
Motion, please.
Yeah, I'll move that.
Thank you, Councilman Albanese. Get a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Councilman Mazzarella. Any discussion?
I mean, we're just replacing, Nancy Raymond is retiring, which was part of the plan when we brought in David DeRosa to back her up, understand what she's doing. She's retiring, and we're moving David into that position.
Thank you. You get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Minetti.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Number 8 is appointing David DeRosa as Registrar of Vital Statistics and confirming the appointment of Gail Paterno as Deputy Registrar effective May 4th, 2023.
The motion, please?
I'll move that.
Thank you, Councilman Albanese. Get a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Councilman Mazzarella. Any discussion?
Again, same thing. It's they're both required positions. As Nancy moves on, we move David up, and we move Gail, who is also an assistant at. So it's not a new, overall new position for her. She's been doing this job.
Hey, thank you. Can I get a roll call?
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Minetti.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Number 9 is accepting the Master Plan Reexamination Report for implementation of the recommendations of the Planning Board.
Get a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Thank you, Councilman Albanese. I'll second that. Any discussion?
Yeah, this is a requirement every 10 years that we reassess our master plan. For the most part, it stayed the same. There were some changes related to state changes in stormwater management, our downtown village, COA changes that have happened, the redevelopment plans, the county transportation was the last one. So those were the significant changes or additions. Everything else was just cleaning up. Everybody has a copy, and I think I answered everybody's questions on it over the last couple of weeks.
Anybody else? Okay, get a roll call, please.
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Minetti.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Number 10 is designating Block 77, Lots 2 and 4, located at 175 and 181 Westfield Avenue, as a non-condemnation area in need of redevelopment.
Get a motion, please?
I'll move that.
Thank you, Councilman Eddy. Get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilwoman Albanese. Any discussion? You want?
Yeah, this is the area right across from CardSmart, Dr. Prasad's office. It's going to take into his building and the building next door. It was reviewed by the planning board, and the planner did the assessment of the property, identifying it as meeting the criteria for an area in need of redevelopment.
Okay, thank you. I get a roll call?
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Manitti.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Number 11 is authorizing the business administrator to execute a shared services agreement with the Clark Board of Education for fuel usage.
Get a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Albanese. Get a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councilman Manitti. Any discussion?
We went out to bid, and this is the lowest bid. It is up, 75 cents a yard from last year, using the same vendor.
You're talking
No,
about the
you're
wrong
on fuel.
Oh,
We're
fuel,
on number
sorry,
11.
fuel. Sorry. Yeah.
Number 11, shared services.
Yeah, that's just cleaning, that's a little house cleaning that we had to deal with. We never had a shared service agreement with the
Board of Ed.
school. When I identified it, I, had the township attorney draw one up.
Great, thank you.
It saves money for everything because we're buying at volume, and the more volume, the cheaper it'll be.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Manitti.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
12 is award of contract for grass disposal to Frank Galbraith and Son Excavation and Demolition LLC at a rate of $18.50 per yard plus $50 fuel surcharge per visit, with the total amount not to exceed $35,000 for the 2023 grass season.
Can I get a motion, please?
I'll move it.
Thank you, Councilman Mazzarella. Second, please.
second that.
Thank you, Councilman Manitti. Go ahead, Jim.
Okay, I'll repeat myself. Again, we went out to bid, it was the lowest bidder. It's up from $17.75 last year, and, it's one of the services we provide to the town, and as everything else, expenses are going up, and we're paying more.
Great, thank you. Can I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Manitti.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Okay, number 13 is submission of a strategic plan for the Clark Municipal Alliance Grant for fiscal year 2024 in the amount of $11,973.
A motion, please.
I'll move that.
Thank you, Councilman Albanese. I'll second that. Any discussion? Jim, you have anything to add?
Yeah, this is a grant that we have. Obviously, as discussed, we have to come up with $2,993 in cash to match it, and then we're going to have in-kind contributions for staffing to do a lot of the instruction, and that comes out to $8,980.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Manitti.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Okay. 14 is authorizing submission of an application for DMHAS grant funding for the Clark Municipal Alliance for Grant Term 2 from September 1st, 2023 through September 30th, 2025, in the amount of $3,403.
Get a motion, please.
Yes, I'll move it.
Thank you, Councilman Mazzarella. Second.
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Albanese. Any discussion?
Pretty much the same thing as the last one. This is for mental health and addiction services, and we don't have a matching amount, though, for this one.
Thank you. Get a roll call, please.
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Manitti.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
15 is authorizing the business administrator to enter into an agreement with Atlantic Health System to perform occupational health services, including pre-employment physicals and employee random drug testing.
I'll move that.
Thank you, Councilman Nitti. Get a second, please.
Second.
Thank you, Councilman Albanese. Any discussion?
Yeah, and this is, again, a contract that we have, and they're in town. They're a township business, and it just makes it easier to have someone in town doing this type of testing.
Thank you. Get a roll call, please.
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Maniti.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Okay, number 16 is authorizing the business administrator to enter into a cooperative pricing agreement with Buy Board National Purchasing Cooperative.
A motion, please.
I'll move that.
Thank you, Councilwoman Albanese. Get a second.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Councilman Mazzarella. Any discussion?
Same thing as the other co-ops we have. Just for the public's knowledge, the co-op negotiates prices for a group of people who are part of that co-op. So we don't have to go out to bid every single time we need to do stuff. As we become, more restricted in who has what equipment, cars, material, we're reaching out and we're going out to different co-ops to give us a better selection to, go and purchase different equipment and supplies that we would need. And this is just another co-op.
Just, Mr. President, just to understand for the public, it's very simple. If we buy through a co-op, they're basically guaranteeing the lowest price. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Maniti.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Number 17 is seeking approval of the Director of Division of Local Government Services for insertion of a special item of revenue in the amount of $16,604.17 for the recycling tonnage grant.
You get a motion, please?
I'll move it.
Thank you, Councilman Mazzarella. Thank you, Councilman Hund. Any discussion? Jim?
Yes, so the Division of Local Government Services gives us the ability for revenue items that are not available when we're putting together our budget. We find out about them, we can add them to the budget. That's what we're doing here. This is the $16,604.17 is related to our, part of the recycling that we've brought in, and we get credit for the disposal and when they resell it. So we're adding that to the budget.
Thank you. Get a roll call?
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Maniti.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes.
Consent agenda.
Consent agenda resolutions.
First item is authorizing the tax collector to refund overpayment of taxes in the amount of $3,507.85. Next is authorizing the tax collector to refund overpayment of sewer fees in the amount of $730. And last is authorizing the tax collector to apply sewer account balance adjustments as credit in the amount of $4,005 and an additional charge in the amount of $280.
You get a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
I'll move that, Mr. President.
Councilman Toll, get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Councilwoman Albanese. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Albanese.
Yes.
Councilman Hund.
Yes.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes.
Councilman Maniti.
Yes.
Councilman Toll.
Yes.
Council President Smith.
Yes. Is there any new business on the calendar?
There is no new business.
Okay, thank you. At this time, we'll move to public comments. I'll open the meeting to the public. If anyone would like to come up, please give their name and address to the clerk. All remarks shall be addressed to the council as a body and shall not exceed 5 minutes in durations.
My name is
Just pull the microphone down a little so we can hear you better. Thank
My name
you.
is Susan Klockstein at 15 Skyline Drive in Clark. And I'm here because I've reported a safety issue 3 times to the police officers, and they said to come to the town council meeting. Skyline Drive is a throughway, and there are flashing 25-mile-an-hour speed limit signs. And I was told, and the cars are going 35, 40 miles an hour, no matter they're coming from Lake Avenue, speeding up to the white fence, coming around the curve, they're speeding to catch the light. And I feel like there's no patrol to monitor this. If they went on Atkin, the cross street, they can make a mint by doing radar and catching these speeders. I'm on disability right now with double knee replacements, and I've been walking to get exercise, and I'm almost getting run over on the street. When I hear them zooming by and see a woman with a cane, I can't believe they would speed by. So I'm here to find out how we can make that street safer, whether we do a study, even if it was done a year ago, this is now, I've lived here for a year. Speed bumps, maybe sidewalks. You almost get killed trying to get out of your car. Again, I'm getting out with the cane, the door's open, these cars are flying by me.
Susan, can I just interrupt you 1 second?
Sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, Mayor, did we do a study on Skyline?
Yeah, studies, enforcement works. Who told you at the police station that they can't do nothing for you? You got to come to a
Three
town.
people. I went to the police station this morning, and they said to come to the council meeting. I spoke to one of the officers in the traffic. They returned my phone call about a couple of weeks ago. I don't know if his first name was Timothy.
No.
And then also, when there was the accident a month ago on Skyline Drive where the truck ran into the telephone pole near the pantry grill, those three officers I told, they said, oh, we can't do anything about it. We had a study once. You'll have to go to the meetings.
Well, let me ask my genius officers a couple of quick questions. Do they think by parking up there and doing radar enforcement it might help? Captain Akabu's here. I want men out on that road until they want to cry to sit out there now. They're sending people here on a job that they should be doing. When people come in about speeding, it's not studies ain't going to do it. Sidewalks is not going to do it. This isn't going to. It's sitting out on the roads and enforcing ticket. I'm really sorry about that.
Yeah,
I'm really sorry about that. Sometimes people want to push it here when they don't want to do what they're supposed to do.
was told-
But maybe I'm overstaffed, and I got to look at that in the next budget too. That's not a problem.
I was told that two things, because I live at the edge of Colonia and Clark, but it's the residents coming up into Clark and the residents speeding down from Clark, number one. Number two, I was told, oh, yeah, a lot of people have been telling us the same thing. So why isn't anything done? Like if I actually saw a patrol car and I have my windows open, you could hear the car speeding day and night. It's not even what time of day. They're speeding, and it's really dangerous, and it's going to get somebody hurt. And they have flashing lights for a reason.
Let me say one thing to you, ma'am, so you understand. We cannot put a police car out there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. No. I'm just trying to give you an idea. There will be an uptick, major uptick out there in radar patrol. Okay, that's my word. If it's not, I'd like you to call my office. Whether I'm in or not, leave it with my secretary, or you can talk to the BA, and I'll make sure it's out there.
Appreciate it.
We'll make sure that people want to point the fingers to the people who don't sit in the police cars. I'll make sure they're out there.
Yeah.
Because this is very annoying to hear. We apologize for that, and we will get on it. Again, there's a lot of cut-through streets in town. I live on one, too. Could I be very honest with you? Captain Akabu is doing a fine job for us. He's implemented a couple of things I'm going to talk about in the end of the meeting. He's done a fine job, and they are getting out on more and more radar. I live on Featherbed Lane by the Deutsche Club. That's a major cut-through.
Yeah.
Major cut-through. I can't remember the last time I saw a radar unit sitting in front of my house, but I don't complain. Go somewhere else. It's better off. The citizens, I don't want to hear they sit in front of the mayor's house, but they don't sit anywhere else. But Captain and I are going to have a conversation on this, and I'm sure he'll implement what he needs to do. He's a very responsible captain. Thank you, ma'am.
Go on the side streets. If they hang out right on Skyline.
They should know, yes.
The side streets.
I know, Mountain View, Aiken, we understand.
Just for everybody's safety.
Thank you,
very
ma'am,
much.
and get well.
Thank you.
Right, thank you. All right, not seeing anyone else. I'd like a motion to close this portion of the meeting.
So moved.
Thank you,
Second.
Councilman Albanese. I get a second. Was Councilman Toll. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Mayor Bonacorso, you have any comments?
Mr. President, thank you very much. And I just wanted to alert the community, and I want to thank Captain Akabu. I'm going to kind of call it his so-called stolen car task force that he started. We've had a couple of cars hit here in the last month, and the captain has implemented a new, lack of a better word, system, a new idea. We're getting hit in the early morning hours between 5 and 7:30, and he's doing some different things with the patrol that for the last 2 weeks, we don't know if it's been working or not, because we don't know if anyone came here to steal a car or not, but he's been doing that, trying to spend more time on watching stolen cars, hoping that they see our deterrent and they do not come into the community. So thank you, Captain Akabo. Citizens with your car doors open, you basically deserve to get your car stolen. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, blunt, the way it is. Chief Matos was up here 5 years ago telling you, lock your cars, lock your cars, lock your cars. We've been telling you, Facebook, Nixtal, lock your cars, lock your cars. If you don't lock your car, they're going to come by and steal what's in it or it. So please, why give them an opening? Lock your cars, it makes it a lot easier. I just want to comment quickly on 2 budget conversations that happened tonight. Mr. Schulman is correct when he said last year the town was reassessed and some people went up, and actually the formula was about a third went down, a third stood the same, and a third went up, just to round out that quote. Mr. Fuchs was up here earlier quoting me from October. I'm glad he pays astutely attention to what I have to say. Appreciate that. At least someone's listening. He said that in election years, I said in the past when the Democrats were in control, and it's a fact, and you can check it, every election year it was a 0, and in the ensuing year it was up significantly. All facts, all true. I will say to you, I'm no way thrilled about this municipal tax increase this year, but I will say in 23 years I've had 3 bad ones. I've had my first year in the door when the town was left bankrupt. Another one when we were at about 1 or 2 tax points and Governor Christie did some budget amendments with surplus and we went up to 9, and this year alone. To make a comment about an election year, we had 3 in a row that were flat, 3 zeros in a row. If you look, and again, all fact, look it out. My 18th year as mayor, the Star-Ledger did a graph of every town in Union County over the past 18 years. And for New Jersey, we got to brag about increases, okay, because we do live in New Jersey. Clark Township, under our 18-year tutelage, was the lowest increases in all of Union County, plus providing the most services in all of Union County, by far, by far. So again, we do apologize to the citizens, and we also pay. It doesn't get separated between elected officials, non-elected officials, Republicans, Democrats, Independents. It doesn't. Everybody gets hit on the chin the same way. But just to clear that comment up, that I did say that, it is a matter of fact, and I'll stand on our budgetary record and the functioning of this town. There was also a comment made about settlements. I know that's a sore spot, but we do realize that settlement that was brought so publicly here last October was done in 19. So if there was any tax increase, I'm sure you would have saw it in 20 or 21. This is 23 for the record. So BA talked about some cost legal going up. Yes, a lady gets, and I'm not going to go too far, Mark. I don't want to give you an aneurysm by going too far about a lawsuit, but some lady was hit in Clark Commons. The car wheel was on her head. She was dead. The police stood down, fire stood down because she was dead. It was now a crime scene to see if there was a crime committed, vehicular assault, homicide, and the people are deciding to sue. So you have these unscrupulous lawyers that love to take these cases and people who run to them to try to get some money, but we'll stand by this one. Our police, fire, and first aid did absolutely nothing wrong, but we cannot stop anybody from suing the Township of Clark. And when we have 3 different entities, and like Jim is saying, somewhere maybe around 40 depositions, we have to split it up. It's not all under the purview of the Township Attorney. Thank you very much. See you at the Street Fair on the 30th, and have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Albanese.
Well, I won't repeat anything the mayor said, but I will see you hopefully at the parade for the girls softball and Little League this Saturday, and also coming up next month is the Memorial Day Parade. I do want to congratulate Councilman Barr and the mayor for the 20 years of service. I submitted the recommendation for your awards in 2019. It took them a couple of years to get through to it.
And you too, Councilwoman, you're a 20-year veteran also.
So, congratulations.
Thank you. Councilman Hunt.
Yeah, not to repeat what's been said, but also want to congratulate Clark's American Legion's Auxiliary Unit 328 for their 75th anniversary. They do outstanding work inside the town. Also recognizing CASA of Union County, which is a very important program, not just in our county, but throughout the whole state and probably the country. So congratulations to them. Congratulations to the new individuals working on the ambulance corps. And hopefully we'll have a good turnout and good weather for both the parade this weekend and then the following week for the...
Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, thank you. I had a senior moment there for a second.
Councilman Mazzarella.
Yes, thank you, Council President. Yes, first, to the resident that came up that resides on Skyline. And I have to tell you, I live right around the area where you're talking. And yes, you're absolutely right. There is excessive speeding around Skyline, Atkin, Fairview, and the cross streets in that area. And I have found that they're mostly from local residents cutting through and younger drivers. And yes, it certainly warrants a little bit more intensive police presence in that area and radar. But I just wanted to make that point to you. And if you need me, I'm your ward councilman. You certainly can contact me as well, and if you have a concern about anything. And ladies and gentlemen, you know, as the mayor mentioned, there were a couple of incidents with attempted unsuccessful break-ins on Fairview and on Roberts in the past couple of weeks. They were unsuccessful. They tried to get into the car, they couldn't. They tried to get into the home, they couldn't. And the mayor is absolutely right. It's because, as a deterrent, it's not a cure-all, but as a deterrent, lock your doors at all times, in your vehicles and in your residence. That would be a biggest deterrent because that takes time for somebody that wants to get into your vehicle, into your house. They can't get in, they'll move on. So please remember, as the mayor said, lock your doors at all times. It's very important. That's all I have until next month. Be well, stay safe, and God bless. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Manee.
Thank you, Council President. First things I would like to say thank you to the Business Administrator, Jim, for doing a great job on a budget. Sat in a few meetings, and I know he worked really, really hard on that with the mayor. I do live in the same area over there off of Skyline, in fact, right behind you, and it's the same thing, you know, with these young families moving in, young kids. All I do is ask the residents to, you know, watch their children, make sure that they're not in the street at all times. It's tough in that area. This Friday night, April 21st, I am hosting a Crusader Night Out, which benefits our student athletes at ALJ at Grand Centurions from 7 to 11. We still have open tickets, and you know, I invite you to come down, have a great time, you know, dinner, dancing, and just support our children. It's a great event, and it's one of our biggest fundraisers. And 100% of any profits that we make go right back to the students at ALJ in the form of scholarships, letters, awards, and things like that. So I look forward to having everybody out on Friday night, and that concludes my comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Toll.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm just going to piggyback on what the residents said about Skyline. Skyline is First Ward, Fourth Ward, and we were calling it the Expressway. Last year, we were working on your issue with Skyline to Kennedy to Mildred Terrace. And one of your neighbors on Kennedy, Frank Machowski, was here many meetings asking for help. And we then went into it. We had a speed police officer at Come School watching the cars end the racetrack rally course. So we're continuing working on coming up with something to help, because I also commute your street in the morning. When I leave Drexel Hills, I have to get out to Lake Avenue to go south. And I drive on your street in the morning. I almost got head-on crash the other day because they're building one of the houses there, and the contractors had a truck extending out into the street. So cars were going around it without pausing or yielding to the oncoming traffic. You're supposed to yield to your fellow motorist. So I'm driving, trying to get out of the neighborhood, going slow at a 25-mile is the zone where it's flashing, and this other idiot coming into Clark was flying and went head-on. And I moved slowly, but he came on, he didn't even stop. He didn't flinch. They didn't care, and that's the problem. That's what we have to work on, is the attitude of the drivers, and that can be shaken up by our local police department saying, hi, you just went 50 in a 20. They're not doing over 25, they're doing over 50 on your street. And that's how bad it is. So we're going to continue looking into it and getting our police professionals to give tickets out. Well, speed bumps, we went through this last year. They don't work. They cause more accidents. And I tell you, a year ago, you had a first responder who was coming home from a party, crashed into a tree. I don't know what house you were at, but he crashed into a tree and almost killed 2 kids on the front lawn. That's when the residents over there were very, very alarmed, and we went into looking at Skyline, Kennedy, and Mildred, working with Frank Wachowski, who's doing counts and everything, and working with the DOT and our local police department to help you out. We've been working on this for a while. It's not an overnight solution, and yeah, it's been said tonight that a lot of them are just local residents who are just trying to get home. I go slow because I'm an old man. For those we lost in the last month, this one hurt because he was only a couple years older than me, and I met him. Martin, ALJ, class of 1977, dear brother of Scott, father of Dana and Catherine, a long-time Clarkite and a friend to all. Mark was a neighbor of mine when I was a kid. His dad was our Cub Scout leader. His mom was a dear neighbor and a friend when I lived over on Fan Street. They were just involved in everything. The American Legion, they were here tonight. The Martins were always involved in that. Mom and Dad passed a few years ago, but Mark was stricken with cancer and taken from us. And that's a great loss to this community because he would help anybody or anyone at any time. He was that true friend that you don't really find these days. Please come out and join us. Mother Nature needs your help. Saturday, April the 22nd. I know there's a lot going on with the girls' softball, and there's other things going on in town, but if you can give a few minutes, go over to Winfield Park Dam at 8:30. They're meeting at 8 o'clock. They give a little lecture on how to proceed into the wilderness, so you can pick up these things that we put into our recycling things, and they get spilled out, and they end up in a reservoir or our Roe River. We need your help. Please come out and join us. Thank you, Mr. President. I'm done for April.
Thank you. Madam Clerk.
No comments, thank you.
Jim, you have anything to add? Mr. Dugan, anything?
No comment.
I was going to have no comment, but on the stolen vehicles, I was actually witness to one. I was having coffee one morning, breakfast, looking out the window, and I saw 2 gentlemen walking slowly towards my neighbor's parking area, and their car was running. They walked up, opened up the door, jumped in, and one guy ran to an escape vehicle, and the car backed out. I went running out, called the police. They did see the car. They tried to stop it. They're not allowed to chase them on the parkway, but long story short, they did find the vehicle. The reason the car was stolen, they had the car warming up because it was below freezing that morning. They did take the key fob in the house with them, so the car's still running. It was unlocked. They stole the car. Once they stopped the car, it was a BMW. They were able to lock it and shut it down, but they did do a lot of damage to it. So if you do warm your car up, take the key inside and lock the doors. That's all I have this evening. At this point, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Councilman Toll. Second. Councilwoman Albanese. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? See you next month. Thank you.